So let's talk about EQ. What is it? It's made up of a couple of different components. Could we talk about those?
Emotional intelligence as a whole is your ability to understand emotions, to pick up on them both in yourself and others, and then your ability to respond to those emotions effectively. You cannot change the emotions that you feel. They happen whether you're aware of them or not. So the idea is to be aware of them and then to respond to them in a way that guides the best result. This also includes with other people. There's a social component here. It's understanding the experience and the emotions of other people and then intertwining that whole awareness to manage relationships more effectively. Those skills specifically, there's 4 of them. It's self-awareness is the first skill, self-management is the second, and then on the social side of things you have social awareness and relationship management.
So the first two being more personal. How aware am I of my own emotions, and then what do I do about them? And the second two are more social. How aware am I of other people's emotions, and then how do I respond to that?
Yeah, we call those first two personal competence. So
Okay.
It's awareness of your own emotions, self-awareness, and then how you manage them, self-management. And then on the social side, we have what is called social competence. So it's awareness of other people. And then the trick with relationship management is you're actually using the 3 other skills to manage relationships more effectively. If you think about this, I cannot fully and best manage a relationship unless I'm self-aware, I'm managing my own emotions, I'm aware of what's going on with those around me, and then I'm using those 3 to effectively manage that relationship.
So let's talk about some of the findings. You've done almost 1 million of these assessments.
Yeah, just about 1 million now.
And so let's talk about what have you found over time? Is EQ going up, going down, staying the same?
It's interesting. There's been a real boom in awareness of emotional intelligence, particularly in organizations both in the public and private sector. And since the economic downturn of late 2008, we've actually seen emotional intelligence scores increase with time. And I really think that that's a result of organizations being more, or a larger percentage of organizations being more open to exploring EQ. Because all of a sudden, this negative emotion that exists, emotions that hold people back, are now at the front of everyone's consciousness. You have massive layoffs, you have a smaller number of employees being required to do more, so you're doing more with less. And that stress and strain is real, even for those organizations who perhaps weren't willing to embrace emotional intelligence in the good times. So we actually see more companies working on this, and as a result, the emotional intelligence scores of these larger samples are going up. Like I said, emotional intelligence is a flexible skill. It's something that you can improve with effort and time. And we're seeing larger and larger amounts of people inside organizations working on their EQ, so we're seeing the overall scores improve.
What about the differences in men and women? How do those scores compare?
Very good question, and one that I get a lot of. There are some pretty interesting misconceptions about the genders and emotional intelligence. First of all, I'll give the one that's not so much of a misconception, is women do outscore men in emotional intelligence. But in overall EQ, this is the 4 skills combined, the differences are slight. And the reason is men and women are actually equal in self-awareness. This is a huge misconception. People assume that men are not aware of their emotions, they tune them out, therefore they don't know what to do with them. They're not going to be adept at that. However, the scores for men and women in self-awareness across the board with close to 1 million people are identical. Now, when you begin to look at the differences in self-management, you begin to see women outscoring, well actually, I take that back. In social awareness, women are outscoring men. In self-management, the scores are statistically equal. Now, the place where you see a massive difference between men and women is in relationship management. Women outscore men in relationship management by a large margin. The idea here is that women are, as a group, individuals are choosing to focus more on managing relationships. And I think a lot of this has to do with how women are socialized to deal with emotions, to manage relationships with other people, to care for other people more than men are expected to in society. The trick here is emotional intelligence is a really strong predictor of job performance. So in organizations, these are actually qualities that serve women, and it's a place where men need to catch up and use that awareness of emotions to improve these critical skills.
Now, what seems really interesting is I think you mentioned that relationship management is a combination of the use of the 3 prior skills or the 3 other skills. And if I'm thinking about this correctly, what it means is even though the scores on the 3 other elements are about the same, women seem to be using those 3 more effectively.
Absolutely. Relationship management is an elective quality. It's something that you choose to use your awareness of your emotions and your awareness of the emotions of other people and do something with that. Consciously and actively work to better your relationships. And that's where we see a big difference in the genders.